Listen, there's no way you can sell me cigarettes in a fucking shop and alcohol and tell me you give a fuck about my safety and health.
Outrageous.
And then tell me you can't take fucking mushrooms or MDMA.
Not about mushrooms.
MDMA, what make you love everyone and fucking hold hands and hug.
What's going on, people? Welcome to the rundown. Right, so Jay, today, drugs, music, and censorship.
Oh snap! 3 of my favorites.
You know what? Though? You know what? This, even just doing this topic, it scares me because I know just those 3 words. I feel like I'm on a fucking tightrope to getting cancelled. Do you know? Do you know what I mean? Like one slip of the tongue and it could all be over. So
that's a different podcast altogether, isn't it? Cancellation.
I think you know what, we should do one about cancellation. But yeah, so what's been on my mind is I'm thinking so you're seeing a lot of for example, dance music labels, and they're very, very anti-drugs.
Yeah.
Right? But what I find very contradictory about this is that the whole dance music scene, as we both well know,
as everyone damn well knows.
As everyone know, we all know, right, that the whole dance music scene, and whether that is house, tech house, drum and bass, dubstep, whatever you want to call it, whatever your particular choice of dance music is, we all know that they're fueled by drugs.
Yeah, but I think
no one goes to a rave and just stands there with a bottle of water. I think it's
very dangerous ground if you start being openly pro-drugs as a label.
Exactly. No, I
think I get it.
But is there not a neutral standpoint? Is it not contradictory though?
I think to me it is contradictory, and I think from my I get it on one side, and I think that goes back to the cancellation thing, you know what I mean? Because rules are strict right now, and we all know that social media platforms have got really strict guidelines. If they want to be monetized, they can't have anything wild.
Yeah, so if you want to, for example, if you want to monetize a particular track, or for example, we can't have, we're drinking today, we're having drinks while we're doing this episode, we cannot have the bottles of drink in here. So the producer, Cass, was I want to put the bottle, and I was like, let me put the bottle. It's like, no bottles, because no monetization. So immediately, we are self-censoring from the outset of doing this show.
I think in the 21st century now, that we're in, it's we should have a more mature fucking outlook on drugs in music and just drugs in general. And there's places that have done it. We know, a lot of people know about them places.
Where are we saying, is it Portugal?
Holland has definitely done it, to my knowledge.
Is it Portugal that's legalised all drugs though?
I don't know. If anybody out there knows who's watching, is it Portugal?
Put it in the comments. Which countries in the world have legalised all drugs? We're interested.
I don't think they've legalised it. I think the way they've done it is they've decriminalised it.
Decriminalised it.
So Holland, I know you can
What's the difference though?
There's places where and we're talking a different end of the scale here, because obviously dance music's not generally synonymous with crack and heroin. They're quite extreme drugs.
They'd be synonymous with recreational drugs.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you could argue that they're recreational, but anyway, the point being, you can go as a user of those drugs to a safe place where they give you clean needles, a space to shoot up your drugs and whatever, and they're not locking you up in prisons. It's a medical problem, not a criminal problem. And I don't advocate people taking crack and heroin. If for that matter, I don't advocate people taking anything really. No,
I don't.
Other than, I smoke weed. I think weed's
Well, you know what? Me and you have this debate all the time. You smoke weed. I don't. I'm quite anti-weed. You're quite pro-weed. We have this conversation all the time. And the reason for that is he gets a benefit out of it. I get a negative effect out of it.
All right, so I'll put it like this, Some people are allergic to peanuts,
And some people aren't.
If some people are in a room with peanuts, they'll die, Some people are allergic to sunlight, you get me? Now, that we're not going to ban peanuts and sunlight. Do you know what I'm saying? So to me, weed, of course it's not for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
That goes without saying.
Yeah.
But there's no question about its medicinal benefits. It's been proven time and time again, and our country is actually one of the biggest exporters of weed-related products. I don't know if people out there knew that, but if you look it up, our government sell weed-related products. They just don't sell it to us. It's illegal to give it to us, but we can shut it off and make loads of money on it.
But I think, like, I
think as well, like this.
I am someone who would agree that weed should be legalized for those reasons that you're saying, but at the same time, weed for me would turn me into a schizophrenic. Like, I can't smoke weed. If I smoke weed, I'm gone, mate. Like, I can't smoke weed.
Yeah, not everything's for everybody, and I get that, and I know there's that means it's risky, but there's risks with everything. You know what I mean? We as adults, we should be able to make choices, and you know, if you jump out of a fucking plane, right, and you do it for charity or whatever, and your parachute breaks, there's a fucking risk with jumping out of a plane. There's a risk with crossing the road. God damn it. You know, probably more people die from a car crash a year than die from fucking drugs. Yeah. You know, certainly from weed. I know that for a fact. So, you know, it's a funny one, but for me personally, even like, I think there's some drugs like mushrooms and ayahuasca. There's certain things what I think like...
Never catch me drinking that shit,
smoking that shit. They open the mind to a different realm of possibility.
It also can open your mind to the devil and the demons that
lurk
deep and dark within.
Yeah, I think
a lot of people
on
have bad trips with that ayahuasca stuff.
I think it depends on, but like from most of the things I've ever seen, the people who do have bad trips still come out of it like, I'm so glad I did it. Like, I know why I had that bad trip. I've connected it to past trauma. I've evolved through it. So I'm not saying that you can't have, you know, there's risks with everything, obviously. And again, like, I'm not really advocating to people to go and try anything. Like, I think that's up to you to make your own choices. But I do think, like, mushrooms grow in the fucking ground, man. They're natural, 100% natural substance.
Yeah, but so are poisonous berries.
Exactly, but they're not illegal. Poisonous berries are not illegal,
mushrooms illegal?
Yeah.
Are they?
They're fucking illegal, man. They're like Class C or something, I think. So, I don't know, man. I don't know enough about it. I'm not claiming to be an expert on any of this stuff.
But what I think, like...
But I've just got an opinion on it, do you know what I mean?
What I think is interesting, though, is that I think there's a big conversation out there about the legalization or not of drugs. But I think when it is being very much tied to music and a scene that is... music is about culture. And if drugs are a part of society and a part of the culture that we live, then is it not... I get what you're saying. It's not the responsibility of the label to be pro-drugs, because I think that's a dangerous line to take as well. But I think to be anti-something ultimately is fueling the economy of that particular scene is a very weird stance to take.
I think for me,
I think it's censorship on steads.
For me, I think it goes beyond it being right or wrong, and it comes the responsibility to make it safe. So if you know people are doing something, whether you condone it or not, I think it's your job to make the safe space.
Yeah, man.
So if you're putting on a concert,
but then you're condoning it though. That's the catch-22.
Not necessarily, man. Not necessarily. Have you seen The Loop? Is it The Loop?
No, what's that?
Wilf. Big shout to Wilf every time. Basically, it's an organization. I'm pretty sure they're called The Loop. It's an organization that those guys set up in order to make it safer after a few high-profile deaths in the music scene of young people taking drugs that they didn't know what was in them. They just bought them off some random fucking
go
guy.
And get it tested,
you take it to this fucking tent at the festival. They check the shit out. They go, fuck me, that's a really strong pill. Just do a quarter.
But do they give it you back?
They give you shit back. Of course they do. It's a non-judgmental service. They're not condoning.
But then is that not, like, what is the legality on that?
Okay, so there's...
But listen to what I'm saying a minute. What is I agree with it. That's not the debate here. What is the legality on it? Could that not get the rave shut down, that you've got people handling drugs and then passing them back to people employed by the festival?
Obviously, we're talking about...
Do you know what I'm saying, though?
I know what you're saying, but we're talking about big promoters here. We're not talking about fucking a small night. So I would imagine that those guys are in talk. They speak to the council, they speak to the police.
Yeah.
There'll be an understanding. There'll be an understanding on that, and they're preventing young people being at risk. And that's the same thing in Holland.
The concept's amazing, but I'm saying
the same
like,
thing I'm talking about in Holland as well. Like, it's not just the crack and the heroin thing. Obviously, we know about the coffee shops, but forget that for a minute. You can go up to any club in Holland and say, "I've got a pill. Can you test it?" Just the same as the loop. What I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure it's a loop, and I'm gonna drop. Can we drop a link in the description, please, guys?
Yeah.
So I think for me, it goes beyond our fucking opinion on whether it's right or wrong. It's a matter of keeping the customers safe.
I think that's where I would agree with you. I think like stuff like the loop or whatever it's called, I think that is a brilliant idea. The fact that you are creating a safe space. What my issue is the legality of it. Like, so for example, now
that shouldn't be your issue because you're not a policeman. So why do you give a fuck?
I'm not saying it's not my issue. Like, I give a fuck. Like, I don't mean that. I'm saying how can that work in that sense? That's what I'm saying.
Of course, it's a weird, but that's why it's called maybe the loop. But I'm just guessing, but maybe it is because it's a loophole, isn't it?
Loophole, yeah.
It's maybe it is. Do you get me? Because it isn't. Yeah, legally it's weird, but it's the same.
It's a weird middle. That's what I'm saying. It's a weird middle.
It's a juxtaposition, but it's the same in Holland with the way they've got it set up. It's the same. You know, it's not legal. It's just decriminalised, and I think once you start slamming people in prison for the use of drugs,
it's crazy.
It's just a stupid thing to do. If someone's addicted to something,
but
they're not well.
But there's
reasons.
There's
someone's
obviously
addicted.
a financial reason that the powers that be
because
would be
if you
doing
look at how much it costs to rehabilitate somebody,
insurance keeps it
against how much it costs to house them in prison. Bro, prison costs us fucking dough. I'd rather they spent my fucking tax money rehabilitating someone.
There's also the price of insurance. So by reducing crime too much, you destroy the insurance industry. The insurance industry is massive, bro.
Oh, that's a next conspiracy there,
It's not a conspiracy, it's fact, it's maths, it's basic.
Yeah, no, but you're saying that's why they're not going to decriminalise
if they destroy
it, right?
Listen, I've said this on multiple occasions. I do get my numbers wrong, so do not quote me. However...
Feel free to correct us in the comments.
Yeah. Yo, feel free to correct us in the comments, definitely. But my understanding, from what I've read, is that by the legalization of drugs would reduce crime so much that it would essentially destroy the criminal insurance business.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
And if you look at what size of the British economy that represents, I can imagine it's quite.
Which then means that they don't really fucking want to ban drugs because it's bad for you. They just want to ban it because it holds together an industry there. But then you think how much money would they make?
Exactly, I don't
from legalising it.
Because then they're going to sell it. And they're going to charge 20% VAT on every eighth that they sell. They're going to charge fucking 20%, fucking 19% corporation tax or whatever.
They're going to make money from it.
Make dough.
And then they could use that money to fund addiction. Like, they could use the money from it. Listen, there's no way you can sell me cigarettes in a fucking shop and alcohol and tell me you give a fuck about my safety and health.
It's outrageous.
And then tell me you can't take fucking mushrooms or MDMA.
Not about mushrooms.
MDMA, what make you love everyone and fucking, or what, hold hands and hug. Do you know what I'm saying? Like cigs. Come on, man. You get where I'm coming from, though. Death is all right when they're administering it. It's cool. You get me?
It just doesn't make any sense. That's
but
the
I think
thing.
back to in the music industry, I think the main duty that everybody has is to make it a safe space.
Yeah.
And that goes for drugs. It also goes for, like, we've seen a lot of stuff recently about female representation and having a safe person. I know Rich Reasons just implemented it at his events.
Yeah.
Big shout to Rich, where they have somebody wearing a pink helmet, and if any woman on the night feels threatened or feels awkward or in any way feels out of sorts, you look for the pink helmet.
Yo,
you get me?
Massive.
And I think that's the duty, man. It's to make things safe. It's not to pass judgment and say whether you should or shouldn't do something. That's you get me? That's by the by.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even realise Rich was doing that.
Yeah, man, it's a great thing, and I think it was in response to a lot of women saying they do feel unsafe. I think it's hard sometimes for men to understand it. You get me? Because
Well, generally, we
female
don't.
experience is just foreign to us. It's not our experience.
We generally don't feel unsafe in that perspective. You might feel unsafe in a rave for various reasons, but it won't be through fear of sexual violence. More time for like 99.9 times out of 100 for a man. You're not going to be scared of sexual violence. You might be scared of getting robbed. You might be scared of getting beaten up or whatever, where it depends where you are or the vibe of the place or whatever it is. But you're not going to be scared of that.
And also, you've got to remember that a lot of it's coming from a man to a woman, and there's no denying that men are physically a lot more dominant than women. So there's that element to it too, which we'll find hard to understand unless you're a really small guy. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what's weird, right?
Around big hench guys or whatever.
You know what we were saying at the beginning of this conversation, like about drugs, music, and censorship, and I think, and I said, this is a sort of conversation that could get us cancelled. But you know what is kind of what this is just reminding me of here now, is that it is people who've took advantage of women within the music industry and the entertainment industry as a whole. That has actually brought to the forefront the reason why cancellation is actually a good thing in a lot of ways. Do you know what I mean?
I would agree, bro. And
for example, the whole Dubstep scenario, he blatantly, the way he had behaved in that particular scenario, it wasn't just one person or two people, it was multiple people.
Exactly.
Bass Nectar, it was multiple people. Dutch, that's another one.
Bro, if you're fighting the good fight, and you're clean-hearted and you're not on no bad mind shit, then you shouldn't be worried about that stuff. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, I do think that there can be like flippant banter what friends have amongst each other, but I think that shit needs to go. Just like flippant racism, it's got no fucking place. You get me? Like, so I don't know, man.
I think
cancellation, innit?
The thing is, like, there's a big positive to cancellation, and there's a big kind of negative, because the problem with cancellation is the public a judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah. But they might get it wrong, innit?
And for example, like, I've made my judgment on set people who I've just mentioned, right, and who I believe are guilty based off what I know from the music industry and what I've seen online. But I'm in the game, I understand, I know certain things from behind closed doors. So therefore, I know fucking Dubstep's guilty. Do you know what I mean? I know that's a fact. But then let's say it's someone else who a lot of people don't know the facts on, and maybe they aren't guilty, but maybe there's 2 or 3 people who've said he has done X, Y, and Z. But then
once you've had 2 or 3 people, there's no smoke without fire when it gets to that point. I don't know, man. Like, obviously, you deserve a fair trial, or you deserve a fair hearing, or whatever it is.
But that's what I'm saying. The public become judge, jury, and executioner.
If 5 people came out next week and said you'd been on some fucking wild shit, I know you better.
You know that wouldn't.
I guess
10 people could come out and say it, bro. You know I would never hurt a woman. You
Yeah,
know
of
me
course.
inside out. You know that's not in my DNA. It's not possible. I've got daughters. Like, it's not possible.
But how do you defend that? If it was one person, like, it's tough. It's a tough one, bro. It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is a tough one.
Like, but cancellation is a fucking. It's like the death penalty, bro. Yeah. It's like the death penalty. Like,
so it's like, we've all.
What do you fucking guys think?
What do you think? Cancellation.
We ain't got the answers for this shit. Man. It's too complex and
what
too
do you
deep.
think? Like, put it in the comments. Cancellation. Is it good for the internet, or is it bad for the internet? Like, help us out with this one.
I think just be a fucking decent human being, for God's sake.
But you know what we need to do, Jay? Like, let's pick up these comments, and then in a show later down the line, we'll refer back to these, and then we'll have this again. Because I think this is like, we're going to see more cancellations. We're going to see a lot more cancellations over the next few weeks. We'll see who gets cancelled. And then we'll be our own judge, jury, and executioner.
And going back to, like, drugs and shit like that, like, if you are gonna do shit like that, be safe, do it as safely as you possibly can, and that means don't just fucking go up to any old weirdo in a club and start buying powder off them and shoving it up your nose.
Be responsible, yo, and look after your friends, look after your girlfriend, look after your people, man.
Make sure you've got each other's backs.
For real,
keep an eye on your people.
Yo.
And yeah, man.
Serious,
That's about
man.
it.
You are watching The Rundown. My name's Nick. This is Jay. We are via Syndicate. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And yo, hit us in the comments. Hit that bell notification. You know what time it is.